Okay, so if you're a renter, you know this moment. You've found the perfect place, you're ready to sign the lease, and then bam, the landlord tells you that you have to get renter's insurance. And your first thought is probably, wait a second, is that for real? Is that actually a law? Well, today we're going to get to the bottom of that. So let's just cut right to the chase. When your landlord says you have to get renter's insurance, is that because there's some big state or federal law forcing their hand? Or is it something else entirely? The short, simple, and technically 100% correct answer is no, flat out. There is no universal law in the United States that says every single tenant has to have a renter's insurance policy. But, and this is a really, really big but, if you stop there, you're making a huge mistake. Because asking if it's required by law, well, that's actually the wrong question to be asking. And focusing on just that could get you into some serious trouble. Okay, so to really get what's going on, you have to understand that you're playing by two different sets of rules. There's the actual law, and then there's your lease. They are not the same thing, and that difference is absolutely everything. So from the government's point of view, it's pretty simple. As a citizen, you have the right to take on your own financial risk. They're not going to force you to insure your own stuff. Now, are there a few super rare exceptions out there? Yeah, maybe, with some specific local housing authorities. But for almost all of us, there is no law making you do this. And here's where those two sets of rules really come into play. On one side, you've got the government law, which says, no, not required. But on the other side, you have your lease agreement. And you have to remember, that lease is a private, legally binding contract. The second you put your signature on that paper, you are voluntarily agreeing to every single term inside of it, including, you guessed it, a requirement to have renter's insurance. So, if it's not the law, then why do pretty much all landlords insist on it? Honestly, it's not about trying to control you. It's all about protecting their own investment, which, is the building you live in. Let's break down why they do it. First and foremost, liability. Let's say you accidentally start a kitchen fire that damages your unit and the one next door. Your policy's liability coverage pays for that. That keeps the landlord from having to file a claim on their own insurance, which keeps their rates from going through the roof. It also makes sure you can get back on your feet after something bad happens so you can still, pay the rent. And sometimes their own bank or insurance company makes them do it. It's just smart business on their end. Now listen up, because this is a super important tip. When you get a policy, your landlord will ask to be listed on it. You need to make sure they are listed as an additional interest. Think of it like a Google Doc. This gives them view-only access. They'll get a heads up if you cancel the policy, but they can't touch it. What you do not want is to list them as an additional insured. That's like giving them full editor access. It can create a massive headache for you down the line, so get that detail right. Okay, but what if you just don't do it? You sign the lease, you move in, and you just kind of hope they forget all about it. Well, that can backfire in a pretty big way, and the consequences are probably a lot more serious than you think. Ignoring this usually starts small. You'll get a warning letter, then maybe they'll start tacking on monthly non-compliance fees, which can ironically cost more than the insurance itself. If you keep ignoring them, they can simply refuse to renew your lease when it's up. And in the absolute worst-case scenario, they can actually start eviction proceedings for breaking the terms of the contract. And an eviction on your record, that's going to make it incredibly hard to rent anywhere else. And believe me, it can get so much worse. Let's go back to that kitchen fire. If you caused it and have no insurance, the landlord's policy will pay to fix the building, but the story doesn't stop there. Their insurance company will then turn right around and come after you to get back every single penny they paid out. This legal process has a scary-sounding name: subrogation. And it's as bad as it sounds. It means you could be personally sued for tens or even hundreds of thousands of dollars. We're talking total financial ruin. All of which brings us to the most important part of this whole conversation. This isn't really about your landlord's rules. This is about protecting yourself from a complete financial disaster. That requirement in your lease is actually forcing you to do something that is 100% in your own best interest. You'll often see landlords require at least $100,000 in liability coverage. And that number might sound huge, but just imagine your friend is over, they slip on a wet floor, and they get seriously hurt. If they sue you for medical bills and lost wages, that $100,000 is the only thing standing between you and having your entire financial future destroyed by one accident. So let's be totally clear about what you're risking by not having a policy. Number one, all your stuff. Your laptop, your clothes, your furniture. If there's a fire or a break-in, you're on your own to replace it all. Number two, liability. Like we just said, you're on the hook for lawsuits. And number three, the one everyone forgets, is living expenses. If a pipe bursts and your apartment is unlivable for a month,
Your landlord's insurance pays to fix the building, but it does not pay for your hotel. Your renter's policy does.
I think Tegri Body from our source material just sums this up perfectly. It's so good. Is renter's insurance required? The answer is a legal no, but a practical and contractual yes. That one sentence really just nails the entire situation, doesn't it?
So in the end, we've been asking the wrong question this whole time. It isn't, is it required by law? Or even, does my lease require it? The real question, the one you have to ask yourself, is this: can I truly afford to be without it?